Magandang araw. Ako si Kuya Code. Welcome back to my channel, which is Python through fun and practical examples. So today we'll be continuing to look into software design patterns. So this pattern is called the interpreter pattern. So the interpreter pattern is a way to teach your game to understand simple text-based commands like move left, attack enemy, or whatever. It's great for scripting systems, AI behavior, or any situation where your game needs to read and act on a mini language. It's kind of like the command pattern, but instead of just triggering actions, the interpreter pattern focuses on parsing and understand a whole sequence of commands based off of rules. So I'm going to show you, like usual, I'm going to show you an example that works, but it's not very good. It's not really reusable, and then we'll add the interpreter pattern to make it a bit better. So first, we'll just have I guess we don't necessarily need to have a class. We can just have a method here. Execute command, and then we just pass in the command itself. And then let's just say, if command equals move left, then what we do, we'll just print, not process lookup error, print something which is player moves left. And then we'll just do some more else if statements here. Oops, that's not the right thing. We'll do elif. So there's move left, there's move right. We'll have one for, I don't know, jump. And then we'll have one for attack. And we'll just have, actually, we don't really need these two. We'll just have else. Something that's unknown. So the player will attack the enemy. And this one is player jumps. And this one moves right. So that's good enough for that. And then we can just say, I don't know, script equals, we'll have a list. These are our commands. So first one will be move left. Then we'll have one for jump. And then we'll have one for attack enemy. We'll just loop through this. We will execute command and type in the command itself. Go ahead and run this, see what we get. Right, so this is what we would expect. It does this one, which goes in here. It does that one, which goes into here, and then it does the attack and enemy one, which goes into there. Of course, this is not reusable because imagine having to, come back in here and rechange this code every single time you want to add a new command, and it's just a mess. So what we're going to do instead is, well, this can be changed into a dictionary, because what's really good to do with dictionaries is you can serialize it and have it saved in a file, whether it's like a JSON format or whatever, because then at least then if we change that, it's not inside of the actual program. It's kind of an outside file, and you can have it like embedded or whatever. But yeah, so we'll just do command grammar equals of a dictionary. We'll just have our commands in here, move left, and then don't need that, and then we'll have move left will be as an object. So kind of like with the command pattern, each command is an object, but in this case, each thing that we want to interpret is also an object. So this is obviously not made yet. So we'll make that in a second. So there's move left, move right, jump, and attack. Move right. Jump. And then attack enemy. That's okay for that. And then we will go ahead and start doing our classes now. So we'll have a class called context init self, pass in the command itself. Self.command equals command. This is just going to hold the command itself, not comment. And then we'll have one called expression for our expressions. Interpret self. We'll type in the context. We'll have the context that we want. And then inside here, we can just do pass because each one of the commands that we want to interpret or the expressions will just override this. So now we can just do class move left expression, and then we'll just pass this in here. We don't need to pass anymore. And then we'll just have a print statement like we did in the other example. Player moves left. So that one is done. Now we just need to do these other ones. So we'll just do move right. One for jump, and then one for attack enemy. This is moves right, player jumps, attacks enemy. Okay, and then we'll have to just change this a little bit as well. So we'll just keep the same ones here for that. Context equals, put depth to CMD in there, and then expression, command grammar dot get CMD, and then if expression, if it exists, but that should be lowercase. My mouse is being weird. Okay. We'll type in the context, and then if it doesn't exist, then we'll just do unknown command CMD. Okay, so I think that's it for that. Let me just double check one more thing here. That's I guess something else we could do, which isn't really needed. This is just this is kind of arbitrary. Normally, if you actually had something, you would actually like have some substance rather than a print statement. You would use it. So in this case, it doesn't really matter. But I could just do that should be command, I believe, because context has a command. Yeah, we'll just see how that looks. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and then run this, not CPP. Okay, so move left, which is the command or the context, and then this is the output. That one somehow didn't work, and then this one seemed to work. I might have had a typo somewhere. Oh yeah, that says move jump, which doesn't make any sense. So go ahead and run this again. Yeah, so now it works. It works exactly how we expect. And of course, like a lot of patterns are kind of similar in a way, which is good because once you get used to a bunch of patterns, then it kind of makes their how do I say this? Once you get used to certain patterns, it's really easy to kind of know how to write other ones because they're all pretty similar. Because like obviously in this case, hey, if you wanted to add more commands, all you need to do is make a new file, make a new class, have all the context you want in terms of how you want it to code, and you don't need to go and edit a big if statement or whatever. And then, like I said, if this is serialized and saved in a separate file, then that's a lot easier to be able to change that file rather than having to again edit that giant list of if statements. So that's pretty straightforward. So if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified right away of future videos. Always let me know in the comments and if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. See you next time on Code. Paalam.